what I wanted to do was, I wanted to pose some questions about the very nature of the story of the exile in Egypt and the redemption.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think, and maybe we can develop this into a series or whatever. I mean, I have, but I think these are super important things that everybody has to think about when they think about Pesach. So I just wanted to pose a few questions and see if we could start a conversation. So.
You have to speak louder.
Yeah. Okay. Why did we have to go down to Egypt in the first place? Why was there a need to be in Mitzrayim? And what was achieved by coming out of Mitzrayim? Those are things that I think they require thought.
We know it's purification.
Purification of what?
Of the Jewish psyche.
How did it achieve that? Would it have been possible to do it any other way?
The pain and suffering purifies.
Was not Am Yisrael just on the level of the children of Yaakov and the Shvatim? Were they not some sort of prime functional Am Yisrael? Could we not have become Am Yisrael in Eretz Yisrael like Yaakov Avinu wanted? Why did we have to go through this whole process, and in what way did it impact that, and what do we have to show for it? Why was there a need? What's this whole project about? So yeah. No, I would pinpoint like two questions that we asked. Number one is, what was the need to go? We can learn from, meaning we have to investigate what was the need. Where's their discussion of the need? What was that need? And also in the story itself of the experience of what that exile was and how it happened and how we redeemed, meaning we can learn a lot also, meaning both what was it about? If there is a place in the Torah that discusses where God says what it was all about, that's one clue. And also the story itself of how it happened, we should be able to glean from that what it was all about, what was trying to be achieved. So what I'm inviting us to do is to focus on those things and come up with answers. And the truth is that the starting point, I think, would be where God tells Abraham that he's got this plan. Mm-hmm. And the question is what that story is all about. Why did God tell Abraham that there had to be some sort of project that would result, that it was necessary for his progeny to go through this thing and come out? That's so I think the first step would be to look at the covenant of the parts and the dialogue over there with Avram Avinu and God, and to try to figure out what that's all about. Okay. So I'm just going to, I'm going to take 2 minutes to read the verses, and maybe we'll pick this up sometime. Okay, so in Parshat Lech Lecha, you have a lot of incidents that happen in Avram Avinu's life, and there's 4 points in Lech Lecha where God promises in some fashion Avraham and his children to have a connection to the land. 4 distinct promises. Time again, over and over again. And you could ask, why is God repeating himself? So you would have to answer that each time you're coming to add or change something. And then you'd begin to look at the story as that God basically responds to something that Avram does by giving him a promise that has to do somehow with his children or the land. The language of a particular promise is very specific. Then there will be another story with Avram, and God will reintroduce on another level some sort of added connection with a different language. And this happens 4 times. The 3rd time, Avram Avinu says, "Hey God, how do I know?" And God responds, "Well, this is going to happen." So let's.
This is the 3rd time?
It's the 3rd time. The question is, what happened on the 3rd time? So we're gonna look at that's what I want to do is really, hopefully, if we get a chance, I would like to start with, this is all an introduction for that. But I would really like to learn up the Bris Ben Absarim and use that as a springboard for a deeper understanding of So I'm just going to read the verses here. So God already promised Avram that he's going to have kids. And after the war of the 4 kings with the 5 kings, in chapter 15 it says, Achar adverim ha'ela haya devar Adonai el Avram b'machazeh lemar, al tira Avram anochi magen lach, scharcha harbe meod. So after these events with the war of the 4 kings and the 5 kings, so the word of God came to Avram in a vision, saying, fear not, Avram, I am a shield for you. Your reward is very great. Vayomer Avram, Adonai Elohim, ma titen li? What will you give me? V'anochi holech hariri, I am childless. Uven meshek beisi hu Damasek Eliezer, and who's gonna inherit me? My steward, Eliezer. Meaning, Avram Avinu is saying, God, you promised me kids, and I still got no kids of mine. I got a big household. I got a lot of staff. I got a lot of students. I got a lot of converts. It's great. I don't have my own child. You keep on telling me that I'm gonna have something that's gonna last forever, that's gonna be a story of humanity. I need somebody to inherit me. I'm looking for somebody to give over the project to, the reins to. Okay? V'hinei devar Adonai elav lemar. So God responds to him saying, Lo yirash chazeh. Don't worry about Eliezer. He will not inherit you. Ki im asher yetzeh mimeyecha hu yirashcha. That who's issued from your innards, meaning your own kids, your own offspring, hu yirashcha, he will inherit you. So the operative word here is inheritance. We're talking about this word inheritance. Okay? Vayetzer oto achutza, and God takes him outside. Vayomer habeit na hashamayma, look up at the sky, right? Chazal say he took him outside of earth, right? He took him outside of his physical nature that determined that his body was not capable of having children, whatever it is. Usfar kochavim, count the stars, and tuchal lisparotam. Can you even count them? Vayomer lo ko yezaracha. And God told him, that's how your children are going to be. You can't even count the stars. Vehem min ba'adonai. And he believed God. He had total faith. He had no question that God was going to give him kids. Vayachsheva lo tzedakah, and he considered it a charity. Or not charity, but righteousness. Meaning, it was God. God insisted he was going to do it. It has nothing to do with him. So that means that at this point, Avram did not believe that there's anything that he could do to jeopardize this. God assured it to him. He believed him. It says, Vehem, and he believed. Okay. And now, the next words are, Vayomer elav, and God says to him, Ani Adonai, I am Havaya, Asher hotzeticha mi or Kasdim, who took you out of Or Kasdim. This is the only reference at all to the whole story of the fiery furnace that Nimrod threw Avram in. There's no mention of that in the verse. Chazal have this whole story. And the question is, if it was so impactful in Avram's life, how come it's not in the Chumash? But the one reference to it is here. This is all going to be relevant, okay? I'm God who took you out of Or Kasdim. What happened in Or Kasdim? Your own father threw you, had you reported on you. They threw you into a fiery furnace. You should have been dead. And I made a miracle beyond nature that you emerged in front of everybody, miraculous, that whoever previously you were was gone in terms of nature. And you're a walking creature here that is not here because your father spawned you. You're a walking miracle that anybody sees you knows you're directly linked. Your continued existence comes from me. You're now a representative of mine down here. That's what God tells him. Latet lecha, in order to give you, why did I do that? Et haaretz hazot lirishta, in order to give you this land, lirishta, for inheritance. He said, you're my kid, you can inherit from me. We haven't discussed what inheritance means yet, okay? Vayomer, how does Avram respond? Adonai Elohim. Bama eda ki irashena, with what shall I know that I will inherit? Vayomer elav, and he says to him, Kechali egla mishuleshet. So God says, okay, my response, you want to know how you're going to know? Take for me the following animals. He says, take for me 3 heifers, 3 goats, 3 rams, a turtle dove, and a young dove. Okay? It's like he's ordering at a restaurant. Vayikach lo kol ela. So Avram gathers all these things. Vayivater osam batavach. He cuts them in the center. He splits them in half. Vayitein ish bitro lekrat reo. And he places each half facing the other half. V'etatzipar lo batar. But the bird, the dove, he doesn't cut. That represents Knesset Yisrael. Vayered ha'ayet al karim vayeshev otam Avram. And birds of prey start circling over the carcasses. And Avram has to drive them away. That's, by the way, a prophecy for something. And the sun was coming up. I'm sorry, here it was about to set. And a deep sleep falls on Avram. And behold, a terrible fear and a great darkness falls upon him. Vayomer la'Avram, and God says, Yadoa tedai, you should surely know, Ki ger yezaracha be'eretz lo lahem, that your progeny, your seed, will be strangers in a land that's not theirs. Ve'avadum, and they will be enslaved. Ve'inu otam, and they will be abused. Arba me'ot shana, for a period lasting, parentheses, the significance of 400 years. Okay? But also that nation that enslaved you, ultimately I'm going to judge them. And afterwards, your children are going to leave with cash and prizes. And you're going to actually rejoin your forefathers in peace. You'll be buried with a good, long-lasting life. Vidor Revi, and the fourth generation, Yeshuva Hena, will return here. Kilo Shalem Avon Ha'amor Yadhena, because until then, the sins of the Amorites will have not been, they're still running their bill, till they get paid off for their sins. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. Avram Avinu says, hey, I got this problem. You promised me kids, and it looks from the looks of things, I'm going to have to give my whole state over to the Rosh Hashiva here, Eliezer. And God says, no. I'm going to give you your own kids. And he takes them out and he gives them the physical ability now to have kids. And then God says, listen, you're worried about longevity. You're worried about your legacy. You're worried about somebody to continue the project. I also want somebody to continue the project. I took you out of Ur Kasdim to inherit from me. That's what we read. Vayomer elav, ani Adonai asher hotziticha mir kasdim latet lecha et haaretz hazot lirishta, for an inheritance. He doesn't mean for you to give to your kids, for you to inherit from me. Eretz Yisrael belongs to who? God. And he wants somebody to take it over, to be theirs, and to continue the family project. God's looking for an heir. He said, why did I take you out of Ur Kasdim? To be my heir. You're worried about an heir? I'm also worried about an heir. And I gave that to you as an inheritance. What does that mean? That you will be a son to me, that you can continue, you can receive it, and you will pass it on to your children. And what's the first thing that Avram says? Hashem Elokim bama eda ki irashana. How do I know that I will inherit it? From you. Does he have a lack of faith? It can't be, because we just mentioned before that when God promised him, he says, V'he'emin b'Hashem, he believed. V'he'emin, he had total emunah in Hashem. So all of a sudden now, what's his problem? How do I know? And what's the answer? You want to know how you're going to know? Here's the answer. Take these animals, cut them up, and now the answer is, you know what's going to happen? Your kids are going to be enslaved for 400 years, but afterwards I'm going to fix everything. That is the prophecy of Mitzrayim. So in this story, we have to understand what was the need, what's it coming to address, what's it all about. But the clues are all here. That's what I wanted to just put on the table. Okay?